These are your important election dates.
Turn down the recording.
And we will be at the Growler Bar afterwards just to mingle with any candidates that are available. Do you want to help me figure out what Hello? Okay. All right. It decided to turn off. And it works intermittently. Okay, so first of all, I just want to thank stopped again. Thank our host clubs for helping me put this together, the officers that helped me. All of you, thank you so much. And we can go ahead and get started. Can we get the candidates for U.S. House District 10 to come up? Right here. So we do have, thank you for everybody joining us on virtual. Hello, Don Marshall here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you all for inviting me here. It's really nice to have a friendly crowd. By that I mean a group of Democrats. I'll give it just a minute. A little bit about me. I'm originally from the Upper Midwest. I grew up in the Madison area, which we colloquially used to call Mad City. I also was kind of considered the Berkeley of the Midwest, so not really, or very, very much I understand what it means to be kind of a liberal. The other thing is that I'm also a college professor. I teach at a two-year community college in the Bryan College Station. I've been doing that for quite some time. I moved here to go to graduate school and just kind of got stuck. So the thing is, what I'd like to start with today is a little story. I was invited to a county last night for a Republican forum. And, it's a tough crowd, to say the least. But I felt that it was something that, everybody should hear, right? You should go everywhere. And I think I would like to be able to go everywhere, talk to everybody, and think that I can actually reach someone. And so here's my story. I got up in front and I said, of course, I don't agree with Donald Trump, and I had little groans. But I said, I do believe there are a lot of things that we can agree upon. We can agree upon the First Amendment rights. We can agree upon the rule of law. We can agree upon the fact that, everybody wants a good job, wants to be able to live, wants to have a house, wants to be able to bring their children up in a good area, good schools, healthcare. I think these are things we can all agree upon. So it's kind of like, here's my olive leaf to you. Then a candidate got up and basically he did his spiel and he did a lot of fear mongering, which apparently that's kind of what happens in these Republican things, because a lot of them did fear mongering. But the thing that caught me, that just blew my mind, and I quote, "The left are dangerous." He literally said that. And I looked at him, I'm like, are you kidding me? Anyway, so here's the thing. If you read between the lines on what he said, what he's saying is, be careful, you might have your mind changed. And I think we need to take that into consideration. I think we can change minds. I also think that if that is what it means to be dangerous, then I intend to be dangerous, because I think we need that. The thing is, I can't be dangerous alone. We all need to be dangerous. We all need to go out and actually educate people. I know it's that sometimes we don't want to educate people, but I guarantee you there was a guy there who did not understand how the gerrymandering worked, and that it was gerrymandered.
Time's up.
Well, I guess my name is Dawn Marshall. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Bernie. First, a big thank you to all the Democrat groups who put this together. A little about me. I'm a husband, and a father of 5. I have 22 years experience in small business and medical administration as a veterinary professional, and I currently work at Texas A&M. I earned an associate's degree in veterinary science and another in economics. Before that, I joined the Army during the Iraq War, right after high school in 2004. Now, let's talk about what? Hello? No battery. Okay. Now, let's talk about why I'm standing up. Right now. Bring it on.
Go ahead.
Right now, only about 2% of Congress is made up of blue-collar, middle-class workers. The rest is mostly lawyers, lobbyists, and financial speculators, people who have turned Capitol Hill into their personal casino instead of the people's house. This political class does not serve we the people. They serve billionaires and monopolies that forces that distort our markets and keep prices high. If Providence allows me to be elected, I will work with diligence to lower the cost of everyday necessities. Here's how. We can use national credit through a developmental bank to expand America's productive capacity. Imagine if farmers, doctors, students, engineers, utility companies could borrow at Treasury rate financing over long terms. That would cut financing costs, it would reduce overhead, and it would take pressure off prices. So the basics get stabilized and working families keep more money in their pockets. This is not a novelty idea. Most industrialized nations use some form of public credit to stabilize prices and help towns and industries expand. Our own country has used national credit before to fund the revolution and to build the kinds of projects that made America grow. Roads, canals, bridges, and infrastructure. I would also support defunding ICE, impeaching Trump, raising the federal minimum wage, taking back control of tariffs, legalizing marijuana, passing the Equality Act, releasing the Epstein files in full, and freeing Palestine.
Yeah.
My name is Bernie. March 3rd, Tuesday, please vote for Bernie. That's it.
Test. How's that?
Yeah. I think it's just gonna speak up.
Yeah, it does honestly just come off.
That could be the.
Good luck, Caitlin. Okay. I will be the guinea pig, I guess. All right, my name is Caitlin Rourk. I am also running for Congressional District 10. And first of all, thank you for having me here. I was really honored to earn the NetCo Dems endorsement last weekend, and really happy to be here with you. And I am running because the moment demanded action. I could not sit on the sidelines like so many people who are stepping up to run for different offices this year. And I also believe that to restore checks and balances and to curb the abuse of power that's happening in our government right now, we have to win back the House. That is the first step. I am an Army veteran as well and grew up in a family where service ran really deep. My grandfathers were both World War II veterans. They came home, they built this country. They are American grit, right? One was a steel worker, the other one was a telephone lineman. And my parents were both public school teachers for more than 40 years. And that was the kind of service that I was raised to respect. And it's why I can't accept a government that doesn't work. I watched that government when I worked in Washington on policy issues. I also have lived that government in the real world, whether it was in business or running my household as a mom. And it's hard to ignore how badly Congress is failing the people that it is meant to serve. And if we don't, if Congress stays broken, everything else stays broken. We can't make healthcare more affordable. We can't protect our public schools, which at this juncture is just protecting public schools. We can't build an economy that works for everyone, not just the not just the wealthy and well-connected. And we also can't curb the unlawful executive overreach and dismantling of our constitutional rights that are happening by this administration. And that's why we have to compete and win in seats like CD 10. So, right now I think politics feels really hopeless. It feels really rigged. You hear a lot, if you watched the Senate debate last weekend, you heard a lot of that messaging, right? And the Republican frontrunner in our race proves that. He's already on TV. He is backed by millions of dollars of special interest money. And he's trying to pose as a populist, but he's taking checks from the very interests that Texans are fed up with. And he thinks that he can buy this seat. And I am fighting to make sure he cannot do that. CD10 is one of those districts that's been gerrymandered over and over again, but I like to think about the legacy of the district and who represented it before. Lyndon Johnson, Lloyd Doggett, JJ Pickle, right? That is our legacy, and we have a chance to reclaim it. We are building the team, we are building the infrastructure, the ground game, and the grit and the vision to flip this seat. It is going to be hard work, and we're going to need everybody. It's going to be an all-hands-on-deck operation, but I believe that I have the experience, I have the grit, I have the backbone to stand up to special interest, and we have the message to go deliver to the people of this district. I'm running for CD10. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to our CD10 candidates. We appreciate all the time you've given us today. We're sorry for the crazy schedule. Just a note for all of the other candidates. Carrie's up here with the timer. 3 minutes. If you have microphone problems, we'll give you a little bit of grace. The yellow light means you have 45 seconds left, and the red is you're done. Thank you so much for your time. If you would like to give a round of applause to our CDP. Claire, Pedro's not able to join us today. He had a family emergency. If you'd like to take a look at his candidate statement, that is on the link that I provided at the beginning, and for those online, Jennifer will share his.
I'm gonna forego the mic. Yell. I'm gonna do that. All right, we ready? Okay. My name is Claire Reynolds. I am running as a Democrat for U.S. Congress in District 11. I have been an attorney for 24 years, and the last half of that I spent working at the State Bar of Texas, the department responsible for prosecuting attorney misconduct. Now, if these were normal times, these are not normal times, are they? Instead, I want to convey 2 things to you. Number 1, if I am elected, I am ready to go toe-to-toe with August Pfluger, with Donald Trump and any of his minions, and any Democrat who isn't behaving as if we are on the verge of losing our democracy. Number 2, this race is winnable. The most number of votes that August Pfluger has ever received is about 230,000. The last midterm election, it was closer to 160,000, I believe. When they gerrymandered this district, they brought in almost 200,000 new voters. Now, not all of those are Democrats, but most of them are. Not all of them are progressive Democrats, most of them are. Not all of them are pissed off. Most of them are. Yeah. So with the right candidate who can get Democrats fired up, we can win this election. I am filled with white hot fire. So I want to be that candidate. Thank you. Claire
All right. Hi. Let's try this again. We got new batteries. Okay. Can we have our candidates for CD 37 come up? Give Claire a round of applause while they do. candidates for, I know we've got, okay.
Yeah, I mean, whoever's gonna,
I don't-
wasn't there a representative?
There is, Diane is not here, yes. My runner for that one. Carol, do you have that list?
I don't have her response.
Okay.
Alright, Esther, welcome. Hi, everyone, my name is, do I have to say?
Yeah, just watch for the cameras.
Oh, gotcha, okay. My name is Esther Fleharty and I'm running for Texas 37th District. I'll be honest, I'm fully aware that Greg has a lot of name recognition because he is a politician. I am not a politician. I'm a mom. I am a regular person just like you. I work a 9-to-5 job that is very demanding. Then I go home and I make dinner for my kids, put them to bed, and work on whatever campaign thing I do for the night. Here's the thing. We need different people in office because what we're doing right now, continuously voting the same people in, is not working. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. It's not going to happen. So I'm here to give you a choice, to give you someone that is not a politician, who is completely out of the ether, who has worked in public health for many years and stood up a lot of public health programs, who has also worked in tech. I understand the way that tech works. I understand the industry of tech. I've also worked for the state of Texas. Nope, no more. I've also worked for the state of Texas. I am an epidemiologist by trade, so data is my thing. I work for the state of Texas on the rollout of COVID immunizations across the state. So not only do I know the state red tape that you have to work through to bring programs out, I also know the tech side of things. I'm completely different, and I am not a politician, and I know what it feels like to sit at home and look at your news or your social media and see what is happening. And I want things to change. I want things to change because I'm a mom and I want a better future for my children. So please consider a non-politician, a person just like you, and vote for me for Texas 37. Thank you.
Testing. Oh, cool. Wonderful. Hello, everybody. My name is Diana Gómez. I am a surrogate for Congressman Greg Casar. I just want to thank y'all so much for letting me come up here and be a surrogate. The congressman is coming. Hello. Okay. He's coming out of his parental leave after having his first child, and I just want to say yes. Appreciate that. I also had my first child about a year and a half ago. She's actually in the back. And to work for someone who takes parental leave and who is really good about making sure that all of his staff have that and that support is just such a blessing because we don't get that in every workplace. So that's why he's not here. He's coming out of it. So I'll see him sooner and a whole bunch of other stuff. Hello. Okay. I could just project. Is this okay? Okay, wonderful.
Use your outside voice.
Alrighty. So as y'all know, for over a decade, the congressman has served the people of Austin, first at city council, and now in Congress. After just 2 years of being in Congress, he was elected the chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. That is a group of over 100 Democrats at the House choosing the congressman as their leader, as their progressive voice, and he's doing that right now. Everywhere he goes, he's been fighting back against billionaire corruption, and he wants to hear from every voice. He's a representative not just of this district, but as the chair of the CPC, for voices across the country as well. He's even heard from people who have different perspectives than him. He goes into districts where their own congressmen don't go into, and he's held town halls, even with the Pflugerville Dems. We had one here because the
representative here wouldn't come for a town hall. And so Greg says, I am coming, I will hear what you have to say. And he's done that across the country and in Texas, around Central Texas. And he's gonna, keep doing that. He's working to transform the Democratic Party. He's working to bring all Democrats together. And now that he's running in the new Austin Base 35, he's gonna make sure that we have a really great, huge turnout statewide. He's helped lead the charge against racist gerrymandering, and I know Austin deserves, the Central Texas deserves way more than just one Democratic representative, but he is here to not just represent his area of Austin, but all the surrounding areas as well. I'm very proud to work for the congressman, and thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to speak in front of you.
We've got a few extra minutes in the schedule, so I'm gonna actually have all the candidates for 10, 11, and 37 to come up and give the audience a chance to ask a few questions. Sorry, I'm not gonna hand you the mic, so you're just gonna have to stand up and present. Go for it.
Did you say District Casar was the only Democrat right now?
No, with racist gerrymandering, I know it is, Trump has asked Abbott to try and create more seats. And unfortunately, what it makes it more, that's the likelihood. I'm not saying that's what will happen,
No,
but that's what he's intending to do. And Fred is against that. He has always fought against that when the new maps came out, and he will continue to fight against the racist gerrymandering to try and attempt to create less and less blue House congressional districts.
So currently Doggett is in 37 and Casar is in 35. After the gerrymandering, there's only one district for Central Texas, and it's 37.
That's what
I'm running against it.
Okay.
This guy in the fantastic suit.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very nice.
So, question, who covered Pflugerville? Just raise your hand.
10 and 11 will come outside of.
What did he say?
Different parts of Thunder.
Different parts. I'll be talking to you later. The maps are on the internet somewhere.
Yeah.
Yes, Flare11.org. You can see if you're in my district if you go there.
You can also go to my website. I also have a link to.
Yeah, so between the clubs that we have represented today, I included all of the contested candidate seats that were available. So 10 kind of swoops in from Odessa like this, 11 swoops in from West Texas like this, and 37 kind of pops up underneath. And so there's or maybe I do have 10 and 11 swaps, sorry. And so, well, I'm doing it from my perspective, I think. But yeah, so basically they kind of swoop in from both sides and they just overlap just a little bit. And then a 37 pops up underneath. So everybody will be in one of these three.
You have a question, sir?
Yeah, so I like the idea of a political outsider, but at the same time, without the legal background, I find there's concerns I have about legal maneuvering, making things that you want to do not actually practical because you don't have the legal background to understand how things work. So for those that are not coming from a legal background, how would you tackle the challenge of navigating like the technicalities?
I'll start. How's that? Here's the thing. You're right in a lot of ways. There's a lot of jargon, and there's going to be a lot of legal things. What people don't understand is once you get to Congress, you will have people that will help you with the legal jargon. The point is trying to get the idea across and produce it into a reasonable legal document. The other thing to think about too is those of us who certainly are researchers, it's just one more thing to read. It's not that hard to go back through and figure things out.
Okay.
All right, so even though without a legal background, and the other thing I would respond to that is how many lawyers do we have in DC right now? And how well is it going? I'm just saying.
I will also say that I have 3 completely different degrees. I have, like my background is accounting. accounting, nutrition, and epidemiology. So stepping into something else it's just like a normal thing for me. Also, my opponent, his background is activism, an organization. Like, he doesn't have a legal background either, and he's in Congress right now. So
May I have your attention, please? Story time will begin at 11 o'clock in the children's area.
Where's that microphone?
I think you having a legal background, while I see your point, will be helpful. There are also other people in Congress and in governmental offices that do not have a legal background and do just fine. It's the team that you build that helps you sort through those things, create strategy, and push your goals forward. That's really important.
I'll say I started out my career in DC, and it's funny, in this race, I didn't think that the policy work would come up as much, but I think to your point, I think there's a comfort that people have because people know how rigged the system is, right? With different interest groups, dark money coming in and investing in these races, understanding that interplay. I think, Esther, you had mentioned a background in business, understanding how tech works. I think that there is an advantage to going and at least having some understanding and not being naive to just the incredible complexity of how Washington works. But I agree. I think, I'm married to a lawyer, and I'd say that I think just having a legal degree doesn't really qualify you. I think all of us are inspired by defending the Constitution, and I think that can mean different things to different people. But I think that energy and that call to step up in this way is probably going to take us pretty far with hopefully one of us or three of us get there next year. But I would say, I think that the policy understanding and just understanding the dynamic, I think we all would be well served to just understand that interplay so we can kind of structure our team and insulate ourselves from, I think, what a lot of freshman congressmen run into when they get there and they're unaware of who are you going to caucus with. What committee assignments are you seeking? You're taking all these meetings with different groups. What are their intentions, right? And I think that understanding that it can be really a valuable asset.
I can go next real quick. The congressman is not an attorney. Of course, he has a background in working in government. I'll also speak on the official side as a congressional staffer, as one of the people on his team that is advising him and working with him. I would say the thing that is most important for the congressman is that his most important advisors every day, even more than attorneys or legal experts, are people that are working class, from working class backgrounds, because everything that is passed, the number one interest for every person in DC should be working class people and everyday people. And so he has the support of a lot of labor unions. We work with them all the time and always ask them for their advice whenever we are looking towards things we should be passing in Congress and to make sure it works for working class people.
I'll just mention too that, I'm not sure if you're aware, but Congress doesn't actually write their own bills. Did you know that? And so when you're in Congress, you write a white paper and you turn that white paper into an office in Congress and they actually write the bill for you. And then you take that bill, you edit it, and you submit it back. And you go back and forth until you're happy with the bill they give you. And then you have to submit that to the Congressional Budget Office. And once that's approved, then you go out and you get signatures for it. And then that's how bills are actually passed.
Oh.
So, not that many people know that.
Oh.
Yes, ma'am?
I really appreciate you bringing, the only one bringing the fact of the concerns with ICE. And I know we look at it as immigrant rights, but rights are rights.
Yeah.
And what's going to be next? I really, could you expand a little bit, because I think it takes a lot of courage to even say the word in a platform like this. So could you just tell me a little bit how you are planning to address some of those concerns?
Well, right now there's in Congress, the Democrats are split between either abolishing ICE or defunding ICE, and it seems like more people are in favor of defunding ICE. So that's something that I would definitely hope for. Right now, ICE is operating on what's called a general warrant. How many people are familiar with general warrants? Right, those were issued during, that's what caused the revolution, in our country, when the British issued what's called the writ of assistance, where the British officers can go in your homes, they can, take your property. Pardon me? Yeah, they can take your property, they can arrest you, no due process, no neutral lawyers, and you're basically guilty to prove innocent. That's what's going on right now. If you're a minority, if you look Hispanic, the government assumes you're an illegal alien until you prove that you're not, and that's against what I grew up learning. We were taught that you're innocent until proven guilty. So yeah.
I would very much like to address this, but
I just want to ask, what's that term again?
Which one? A general warrant. Yeah, that's what's article. That's
like
one.
an administrative warrant.
As opposed to a traditional.
That's what ICE is using. So ICE is using administrative warrants. The executive is issuing warrants for ICE agents to go in the house without the judge signing, without judicial oversight. So that's a blatant violation of the Constitution.
I just want to point out that from my perspective, I think it is shameful that the Democratic Party is even having this argument right now about whether we abolish ICE or defund it. They're not doing the things that they're doing because they lack training. They're doing it because they want to stifle dissent and they want to scare the shit out of us. Well, I don't believe in negotiating against myself. There are a lot of people who are like, oh, it's unrealistic to say that you want to abolish ICE. Well, you don't go to the table with already having decided that something is unrealistic. You go to the table with what you want and you let the other side negotiate you down. So I 100% am in favor of abolishing ICE, and you will never hear me say otherwise.
If I can address this as well, only because that was at the end of my little speech that I got. Because here's for me, I agree wholeheartedly. What's going on with ICE is reprehensible. In fact, my husband and I are first responders with regards to going out and documenting. We are on a signal, and if we are not working, if we're not somewhere out of town, we will go to those places and we'll actually document what's going on. It has to be done. One of my concerns is that, and I don't understand this, that you get Renee Good, okay? You have a Republican and a Democrat, and they're both looking at the same video, and they both see something else. It's almost like looking at a picture. Is this an old woman or is this a young woman? And I think the rhetoric is so deep and so thick with some of these folks, they cannot see the forest for the trees, for one. The other thing is why did it take for a man, white, carrying a gun, for people to take notice? Do you know how many people have died in the hands of ICE that are not white and not male? At least this year, at least this month alone, we're looking at 53. So for me, it's like, I don't understand why you are guilty before innocent. I don't understand why it's okay to run around in gangs of people, pulling people out of their cars, breaking into their cars, beating them within an inch of their lives, and then saying, oh, they attacked me. It's 5-1. Okay? He was attacked by five. He wasn't even the target. There was another woman that they were coming after. He got in the way. He was trying to help her up. All right? But to me, it's like that is a sad, sad statement on our government. That it has to be somebody white for somebody to actually stand up and take notice.
She's right. It's unprecedented times. But I grew up in an area where 80 to 90% of the population is Hispanic. And I'm talking about South Texas, of course. And so you're referring to it as ICE. But the Border Patrol were no one to be scared of. The Border Patrol took care of McAllen and Brownsville, and they were just there. And everybody knew who they were, and first name basis sometimes. So this business of being afraid of them is all brand new. So how would you approach that divergence, the two visions people have of the same group of people? The Border Patrol.
So I grew up in San Antonio, Texas. That's where I was born. My family, I'm first generation. Hablo español. I don't present Mexicans, but my full name is Esther Maria de Jesus. So I understand that, and I also understand when I was younger, it was La Migra, right? La Migra, and people would talk. It just has a different name. I think for the Border Patrol is one thing. La Migra and ICE is another, right? And that's how I would see it. The Border Patrol, like you said, is, to you, felt like something safe and they were here to protect you. La Migra or ICE is coming after you, going to arrest you and put you in jail and deport you. And that's the distinction I would make.
Well, if I understand correctly, you're talking, La Migra, they were commissioned officers. They were part of the police that enforced the border laws.
Yeah.
So La Migra was not, I think you're speaking about La Migra. ICE is a completely, totally different.
But
Border Patrol is who shot it. Freddie, right?
Yes.
But see, they're nowhere near a border.
ICE was created in 2003. The Border Patrol was created, I believe, back in the 40s.
There you
go.
There you go.
And I just want to point out that I really thank you for bringing it up. You know, you were the only person that actually said that word. And I really want to tell you from the bottom of my heart that that speaks values to me.
And it certainly is an emotional subject.
If I could say really quick, I think a big overarching issue that combines a lot of these is the Trump administration weaponizing a lot of these agencies to against immigrant communities who are neighbors and against now United States citizens. So weaponizing all of these agencies, whether it could be Border Patrol, whether it is ICE, whether it is, he sent National Guard to Chicago, he is to use that against us, our neighbors, is unjust. It's an overreach. The congressman is voting no to give any further funding towards ICE, has voted no, and will continue to vote to give any more funding to any agency that the administration is weaponizing against immigrants, against our own citizens. This is going too far, as y'all were mentioning. One recent case here in Austin is a young student named Annie López-Resendez was coming home for Thanksgiving from Babson College in Massachusetts. She got to an airport, and there they took her and they deported her immediately to Honduras. The Trump administration admits they made a mistake. And that is another instance of, we're not at a border. This wasn't ICE, this was at an airport. She was going to visit her family for Thanksgiving after a really great semester in college. Congressman Casar has been on television shining a light. He has been in San Antonio with Congressman Castro and Jasmine Crockett speaking against people held indefinitely at Dilley, like young Liam. That is where he's held at right now. And today, later on at 3 p.m., there will be another rally at Canyon Park with Rep. Castro, Rep. Casar, Representative Tallarico, and others, Gina Hinojosa, called ICE Out, to speak out against this injustice, this overreach. If you guys would be more than invited to attend, please. We expect a few thousand folks to attend that rally later today.
And thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. We're moving on. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you all for your time. We really appreciate it. We're gonna move on to Comptroller X. We're gonna have our candidates for Comptroller come up. Yeah, like just
For the camera.
watch the camera.
We're live streaming, so just.
Yep. Great.
All right. I guess so. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, clap once if you can hear me. Great. Okay. My name is Ed Espinoza. I'm a former political analyst for CNN and a former director of Progress Texas, but I'm not running for anything. I'm here to talk to you about Sarah Eckhardt, who I think you all know is a state senator from Travis County, former Travis County judge, former prosecutor. She can't be here today. She's up in Fort Worth. You might know there's a special election for state senate in Fort Worth. It is a 19-point Republican seat, and they are scared to death they're going to lose it because they probably are. And she's up there working for that state senator right now. She'll be there on election night to introduce him to try and win that seat back. And boy, I hope she does. So she is running for comptroller. Now, I'm not going to get into the details of what the comptroller does because most people think that the comptroller just writes checks. And they do write checks. But there's so much more that they can do that the comptroller has not been doing. The comptroller can audit what the state is doing. They can audit the voucher scam. They can expose the expenses in this state. They can expose how much it costs this state when they refuse Medicaid expansion. They can break single-party rule and be a check and balance on what the cabal has run here in this state for years. They can stop no-bid contracts to GOP donors. These are important things that we don't often hear about the comptroller's office because the guys in charge don't want you to hear about it. That's why Sarah Eckhardt is running. So I'm going to keep this short, I'm going to keep it quick, and I'll finish with this. Just remember, it was accounting that brought down Al Capone. Maybe it's accounting that'll bring down Greg Abbott and all the other guys too.
Questions for him?
Oh,
for
sure.
The seats? No. So I know Michael and Savant couldn't make it today. Again, their statements that they've provided are in the link that I provided on the door. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
take a look at that. And I know there's a billion events happening today, so we're all trying to pull on candidates in different directions, and that was why we worked together with a few different clubs to make sure that we could have a bigger reach and bigger impact. Benjamin, if you're ready to come up. Benjamin's here for Texas Land Commissioner. Jose did provide a few flyers. I have some in the back. I didn't print too many because then I was worried about campaign contributions. And so if you want to take a picture, feel free. Otherwise, the statement's also in the document provided.
Ben. There you go.
I am the Mexican Reyna wife. Buenos dias, Pflugerville. There will not be a general election in November 3rd. I'm Councilman Benjamin Flores, and I'm running to be your next Texas Land Commissioner. It's a little big office that most Texans don't know about. At a high level, it oversees public funding for schools. Sorry, funding for public schools. There you go. I live in Bay City. I drove 3 hours to get here in the morning. It oversees veteran benefits as well in our state. And lastly, well, it sounds a little bit weird, disaster recovery efforts for the state. Now let me unpack those a little bit. The land commissioner manages a whole bunch of stake. Texas is pretty dang big. It's about 13 million acres of those. And it leases or sells the land to, you probably know, oil and gas. But there are other choices, which is what I intend. And I was sick for the majority of the week, so my brain is getting there. Second twice in a month. And then you have to campaign. Back at the range. I intend to lead an energy expansion in the state that will include all kinds of energy producers that responsibly establish this, whether it's oil, solar, wind, and geothermal in our state lands, that will generate more funds for what is called the permanent school fund. What that does is then, kind of like your 401k, generates funds that goes to our public schools, right? Me, I want to diversify the sources that go into that fund so our schools are well funded, right? Now, this is the only office in the state that can do that without raising your taxes. You're gonna hear candidates for all kinds of positions. So that's what they want to do, and that's what you all want to do, right? But this is the only office that can do it without raising your taxes, and as a good side effect, oh man, that's scary. As a good side effect, that it helps with your property taxes as well. Now, for veteran benefits, It oversees home loans, assisted living homes, and cemeteries, right? Well, my way of thinking is like, hey, sure, this is what the land commissioner does, but what does the land commissioner should be doing in the next 5, 10, 15 years? That's really what Texans need, right? I plan to look into establishing a new assisted living facility in the coastal bend. I plan to do a full audit for all the facilities within the first 90 days to make sure they're all at least 4-star rated. There's a couple of 1-star raters. And lastly, disaster recovery. Who was here? Man, come on. Oh, there you go. Who remembers Harvey? Yeah, Storm Uri? All right, so even though I say I lived in Bay City, actually when we moved to Texas, I lived right here at Olympic with my family. So like the prodigal son, I returned. And then we were down in South Austin for Uri, for COVID, and about 4 years ago we moved to Bay City.
You didn't go to Cancun?
That's a good barometer of where you're like, should I be packing bags, getting toilet paper, bottled water, those kind of things. The thing with Harvey that people don't know is that to this day, people in Houston and Harris County have seen $0. Right. West Texas still Harvey money. Just because the previous P. Bush and the current commissioner, they just come up with some funny math to help folks that had nothing to do with the actual disaster. To wrap it up, not abuse the grace, my intent is to help those folks that need it the most first. Pure and simple. But not only that, I will, because we know disasters, I don't know they're coming well prepared, right? I will have a special rapid response team, get ready, which already linked up with the communities that are going to be affected. Hey, we're gonna be there. We're gonna help make the links, whatever we need to do to help you guys come back up faster, right? I'm a councilman in my city. I was the Hurricane Beryl 2024. It impacted my city, Sargent Beach, Matagorda, et cetera. And I got to see the inefficiencies that happened communicating between FEMA, us, the local officials, and the GLO, which didn't show up until weeks after, right? And I can talk a heck of a lot more, but this position is very, very important, from generating more power for the state to really funding our public schools, to honoring our promises to our veterans, and to really make our communities whole after disaster strikes. I'm Councilman Benjamin Flores. My website is letsgowithben.com. I appreciate any and all support you may give my community. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Anna. That we have Maggie Ellis here. Corey did not respond to my request to join us today, but Maggie is always a reliable face here in the Pflugerville area, so we appreciate you. So thank you.
3 minutes.
3 minutes. We'll have some questions. Okay, it's time for questions.
Hi, everyone. I am Justice Maggie Ellis. I currently serve on the Third Court of Appeals. It is an honor to be here to try and earn your endorsement. Right now, our separation of powers is eroding. Our rule of law is under attack, and I am running for Chief Justice of the Texas Supreme Court to bring balance and independence back to our courts. A little bit about me. Most of you can probably do my campaign spiel, but for those of you I haven't had the opportunity to meet, I grew up very transient and homeless as a child. I went to 8 elementary schools in 3 different states when we were in school. At 10 years old, my mom stopped taking me to school. When I was 11 and a half, we were living in our car in New Mexico. I begged her to put me back in school. She drove me home to Texas and left me at a gas station with $5, about 2 miles from my father's house, and drove away. I didn't see her again for 12 years. At 22, I was a single mom with an infant and a 2-year-old, raising my baby sister by myself with no help from anyone. It took me 16 years to get my undergraduate degree from UT. First, I got my associate's degree in Spanish from ACC. I'm the only one of my 8 siblings to ever attend a university or graduate from college. After I was a public school teacher, and a foster mom. And then I went to law school so I could be an advocate for kids and families who were like me and my siblings. I drove back and forth from Austin to Waco every day to get my law degree with 4 teenagers at home. And then I went to work practicing in 5 of the counties that the third court serves. I have handled thousands of matters in court as a prosecutor, as administrative law judge, doing private practice, representing and defending people at risk of losing their liberty, their homes, their children, as the voice for victims in cases ranging from murder and sexual assault. I bring tremendous legal experience to this seat, but I also bring a lived understanding of what so many everyday people have experienced who come before the courts. I have been endorsed, does that mean 30 seconds?
45.
45, okay. I have been endorsed by 23 organizations, groups, and clubs throughout the state, including the AFL-CIO, the Texas Progressive Caucus, groups representing ideologies, students, young people, attorneys. I am incredibly honored. And NetCo Dems, thank you so much. Thank you all for everything you did to help me get elected to the third court. I have tried to serve you honorably. I have authored or reviewed hundreds of opinions on the court. And I've also, oh my gosh, this is important. As a Chief Justice, I have led organizations of several hundred people that is critical experience because the Chief Justice is responsible for the administration of all the courts in Texas. I would be honored to earn your support. Thank you.
Any questions for Maggie?
Maggie, you said you're going to go up for Chief Justice.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you ever been one of the regular justices?
Not on the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is made up of 9 justices, and for the last 32 years, there has not been a Democrat in any elected offices statewide. So in order for me to have been a justice, I would have had to have been a Republican. Yes, sir.
I'm a retired high school teacher. Thank you, and thank you for all of your experiences.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, and thank you for what your service did.
Is your term coming up in the third district, or do you still have time on that?
I still have time. I worked too hard to get this seat. I would not give it up to, yes.
This is a safe race.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Important, very important question. Very good. All right, thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, this one's a big one. All right, Chief, if you candidates, you mind coming up to one, please?
Yeah.
Oh, we're sitting, okay. There's a lot of you, so. Face the camera if you will. There's 3 minutes for each of you. We'll have to do if you have some time for Q&A. So light turns yellow at 45 seconds. Okay. You can stand. Absolutely.
Hello, my name is Nathan. I'm running for Texas House 50. So reasons I'm running, I feel like too many right now politicians only care about the billionaires and corporations that sponsor them, not the people they're supposed to represent. So I'm wanting to run against money in politics, and also healthcare. I think healthcare is a human right, and I want to run on regulating the cost of healthcare, lowering it for everyone, protecting reproductive rights, gender-affirming care. I also want to get rid of private prisons. I don't think putting people in jail should be for a profit. And education and children. I believe that we should feed every kid in school. I campaign on making sure every kid gets free lunches. So those are some of the bigger issues. And I think we can accomplish it. So according to the U.S. News and World Report, Texas, if we were our own country, would be the 8th biggest economy in the world. But we're 32nd in healthcare, 25th in education out of the states. And also out of all the states, we're 48th for opportunity. We have the money to be able to help people and take care of them. 21% of Texans don't have health care. I think that is disgusting and wrong. So yeah, those are some of the bigger issues. Some of the biggest thing, well, one thing I want to make sure the most important message is there are more registered Democrats in Texas than Republicans. As of August of last year, there was 8.1 million Democrats to 6.6 million Republicans. So if you tell everyone to go out there and vote, their voice does matter. The Republicans will try to lie to you and tell you it's a red state, your vote doesn't count, but it does. We can win, we can take the governor's office, we can take these other seats. Just tell everyone to go out and vote. Thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kate Lincoln-Goldfinch. I'm also running for HD 50. I'm native to Austin. I've lived in the district for 20 years, went to UT Law, and for the last 20 years, I have been working in the district helping immigrant families. My immigration law firm has helped over 20,000 families in the Central Texas area get legal status. I have served as commissioner on immigrant affairs for both Mayor Adler and Mayor Watson. I launched a national nonprofit called Vecina that helps migrants in crisis. And I launched a community engagement project called I'm just going to put this down. Bus Sin Fronteras. You might have seen this bus that goes out in the community and it brings know your rights materials to the community, like these safety planning packets. We have given out thousands of these in the last year. This helps parents know how to protect their children if they get picked up. That is who I've been in the last 20 years. And let me tell you what I'm going to do right after this event. I'm going to meet with my client, Evelyn. Evelyn is married to Francisco. Francisco has been in this country for over 20 years, and together they have 3 children. One of them is a cancer survivor, lymphoma. The youngest has type 1 diabetes. Francisco is a construction worker, and a few weeks ago he was driving to work, stopped to get gas in his car, and DPS pulled up behind him and decided to take him in. After that, Evelyn couldn't find him. As it turns out, he was in the hospital with pneumonia, almost died, and nobody from DHS or the hospital contacted Evelyn. This is what is happening. Of course, we know about what's happening in Minnesota. This is happening in Texas because of DPS troopers in state leadership compliance with immigration enforcement. Greg Abbott has put the DPS troopers out on the street to pick up immigrants. The state legislature has voted to spend $18 billion, our dollars, on immigration enforcement. Senate Bill 4, the Anti-Sanctuary Cities Bill, is what is allowing APD and the sheriff to be compliant with immigration enforcement, and that's why I'm running. This is what I've been doing for the last 20 years. I am not going to forget about this. There are a lot of other issues that are really important to all of us. Immigration touches on all of those, and immigration is in the headlines. A lot of people are talking about this right now. I have been doing this work, and I promise you guys, I'm not going to forget it. When I get into the Capitol, I will keep immigrants, immigrant families, mixed status families, and the safety of families in Texas the top of mind, and I will continue to fight for us. That's what I've been doing all this time. My name is Kate Lincoln-Goldfinch. I would be honored to have your support and your vote. Thank you so much.
Nope, we're not doing that. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Samantha López-Resendez. I'm running to be your next state representative here in House District 50. That's North Central and Northeast Travis County. I'm really excited about this opportunity. I'm running as a woman of reproductive age that hopes to expand and start her family one day. I'm also running as a former bilingual educator from South Texas. It's a border community where I was born and raised. And I'm also running as a proud daughter of immigrants. My father was a migrant worker up until he was 19 years old, and he looked around and said there has to be a bigger, better opportunity than just picking up vegetables off the ground. And I'm glad that he took that step to go get his GED after dropping out of high school and gave me significant opportunities to be able to go to college and be here and talk to you today. Our immigrant families, as Kate said, are continuously under attack. What we can do at the state legislature and as state legislators is stop our taxpayer dollars from going down to projects like Operation Lone Star. The truth of the matter is $11.1 billion have been sent down to the border to Operation Lone Star specifically. And Governor Abbott went and wrote a letter to the federal government saying, actually, this should have been your responsibility all along. We want our money back. It's been over a year. We have not gotten that reimbursement under this administration. And that was, again, $11.1 billion that could have been reinvested in our public schools and accessible healthcare opportunities and affordable housing solutions. Additionally, as a woman of reproductive rights, we saw the effective ban on abortion after the fall of Roe. We need the next generation of women and leadership to step in and step up and take this fight. I have been a chief of staff for Representative Donna Howard, a longtime chief of staff. I've been a part of her team since 2019. So I have been at the forefront of this specific policy issue for quite some time, and I know what's coming. They're coming for our contraception next, and I'm ready to take on that fight. Third, Governor Abbott has completely dismantled our public education system, and that is the reason why I'm running. House District 50 deserves a leader that is going to prioritize our public schools first and foremost. The long-term success of this state relies wholly on the investments of our children today. And the reality is Austin ISD is facing 12 school closures and consolidation plans. 12 schools. And we just gave $11.1 billion to Operation Lone Star. And we live in the most property wealthy area in the entire district. So your school property taxes are exorbitantly high, and yet your schools are closing. It doesn't make any sense. As a fighter and as a policy staffer, I will be filing legislation to allow Austin ISD and school districts like Pflugerville ISD to retain funding that they would have given into recapture, to retain those funds to ensure that their schools could remain open. Those are the types of solutions and like-minded people that we need in the Texas House. I understand immigration is a huge issue. No one understands that issue better than I do because I am from a border community, born and raised with immigrant families and multi-status families. Again, my name is Samantha Lopez, but let's remember what a state legislator can do for the Texas House and work for you. Again, Samantha López-Resendez, running for Senator.
Wonderful to see everybody here today. For those of you who I have not had the opportunity to meet, my name is John Hash, candidate for Texas State House, District 50. I'm going to start this off and let y'all know I wasn't born in Texas. Bit of a surprise to some of y'all, but my father worked for the military, so we moved around quite a bit growing up. But one thing that he ensured we had growing up, my brother and I, was community. Staying involved in whichever city or town that we lived in, whether it was leading Kiwanis, Rotary clubs, youth leagues, and that instilled into us a sense of community and a sense of leadership. It's what led both my brother and I to earn our Eagle Scouts at the age of 16, and it in fact impacted what I did after I graduated from the University of Texas. I wanted to give back to the communities. I started working with the University of Texas under a new program called Advise Texas. Placed in Title I school in San Antonio, I worked directly with the students to alleviate the pressure on high school guidance counselors, ensuring students had a leg up for their next step in life, whether that was college, vocational schools, or taking their ASVAB. I continued working with students across the state in a new program called GeoForce. We were recognized by the Obama administration in 2015 for our mentoring in science, engineering, and math. Program designed to build the next generation of leadership in STEM. One that we have, very importantly, here in the state of Texas, because we are very energy dependent. But two things came out of that program that I learned a lot. One, our students and their families struggling, pushing their dollars further and further, trying to juggle their classes, opportunities for them, while also taking care of their younger brothers and sisters, or having to get a second job to pay for bills at home. And that is evident all across the state. It's what led me to actually want to run for office, to make an impact and build a better future for our students. And I've been reinforced in that during some of the canvassing. I want to take a minute to tell you about one of my experiences. Met with her grandmother while I was out. Spoke to her, let her know that I'm running for office. She was super excited to have a new generation of people wanting to step up and run for office. She told me she's leaving. She's moving out of Texas because her grown son and his family are moving to the Northeast for an opportunity to raise his daughter in a place that does not put public education on the back burner, that does not just cater to the billionaires over the people, that does not have the most restrictive abortion laws in the country. As a father to a daughter who is getting ready to join in the public education system, who I think about all the time what kind of health care she's going to have available to her, that is why I'm out here and running for office. So I ask for your support this coming March. John Hatch for Texas. You can check out us on our website, johnhatchfortexas.com. Thank y'all very much.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you for having me out today. I'm sorry to come a little late. We were actually just out on the doors, knocking doors, which we've knocked over 13,000 doors so far, because we're the hardest working campaign in this race. My name is Jeremy Hendricks. I'm running for House District 50. I'm a 20-year labor organizer where I fought for living wages, fought and passed living wages, saved job sites in the most dangerous state for workers in the country. We have more deaths, more injuries, more misclassification, more wage theft, all the things that make it hard to be a worker. So we need someone in this job that knows what workers are struggling through and going through, and that is me. I've been a 20-year labor leader working with the Laborers International Union, and before that, the National Education Association. I was a classroom teacher, so I fought my entire career for public education. I'm also a longtime Democratic activist, where I've been a precinct chair, a club elected official, and really worked with the clubs throughout Travis County to make sure that we're getting people registered and out to vote to protect our democracy. I'm also neighborhood president in Windsor Hills, where I've done a lot of community advocacy to protect our immigrant communities, working with Workers Defense Project, Equal Justice Center, and others. Very proud to have founded the Austin Infrastructure Academy in Austin to really make sure that we have a town that incentivizes good jobs, that incentivizes opportunities for disadvantaged communities. I'm very proud of this race, and we're working harder than anyone else. And because of that, we've gained the support of over 160 elected officials, including Congressman Doggett, Congressman Casar, and a whole long list of others. I'm also proud to have received my 40th endorsement from an organization yesterday, the Black Austin Democrats. That means that every single organization in this race has endorsed this campaign, despite this wide field. And I believe that's a testament to the work that we've done in this community for the last 20 years, not on one issue, but many issues. I also helped found the Texas Climate Jobs, which is something that is looking at building a clean energy economy while also making sure that we're not leaving behind workers. So I'm focused on the clean energy resiliency of our community. I've helped pass rooftop solar here in Austin, which we're about to start that. So I've been working at the city, the county, and the state level doing policy for the last 20 years. I know how to fight and how to get things done. I know the policy side of things, but right now, in these difficult, tumultuous times, we need somebody who knows how to get in the trenches and knows how to fight and win. And I'm the only candidate in this race that has been doing that side by side, shoulder to shoulder, arm in arm with every single one of you and people throughout this community, whether it's protecting our immigrant communities, our workers, our neighborhoods, whatever it is, I've been there fighting for you guys. And I want to continue doing that in the legislature. This next representative, replacing James Talarico, is going to have to fill some big shoes. I can fill those shoes when it comes to education, but I can also step in and lead on worker issues. Unfortunately, we just founded the labor caucus in the state legislature 2 years ago. There's only 2 people in it. So you wonder, why are we the most dangerous state for workers? Why do we have the lowest wages? Why do we have the most dangerous job sites and workplaces? Because we keep electing people that forget about workers every single morning when they wake up. And with Jeremy Hendricks for House District 50, you can rest assured I'll be there for you, I'll fight for there for you. Go to hendricksfortexas.com to learn more. Thank you.
All right, these candidates have had lots of forum experience so far, so why don't we give everybody the chance to ask some questions?
This is a question for Nathan. You mentioned healthcare. If you got elected and you were going to write a bill, what would it look like and where would you start?
Well, regulate the cost of medicine because insulin, for example, is sold for $12 in Canada. So if those companies can sell it at that price and make a profit, they can sell it at that price here. So life-saving medicine like that, I regulate where there has to be a limit where you can't be sold over that and go with some of the neighboring countries that have better prices and better healthcare.
Anything else?
That's, I guess, where I'd start. Yeah, just trying to regulate the cost of healthcare and make it insurance affordable for people. As I said, 21% of Texans don't have healthcare, so we need to fix that. Because healthcare is a human right. It doesn't matter if you're a citizen or not. It's just something everyone deserves access to.
What I would add is that Texas has rejected the federal ACA subsidies, which is a 90-10 split. It would be a net benefit for us economically. And a lot of the Republicans have been opposed to this, even though most Texans are for it. So one solution that's realistic that might actually occur is we could put this forward for a constitutional amendment on the ballot. And if we get enough legislators behind that, and we can get it past the governor's desk, we might actually get to put it to the people that we take federal subsidies for ACA in Texas, which would impact millions of Texans who may be able to access health care.
Thank you so much for your question. I love this question because it actually gives me the time and the opportunity to think about policy solutions, which is what I do and what I've been doing. So 3 things. First, we need to ensure that our insurance companies are not denying access to those that already supposedly do have access. I heard a story of a young man who's 22 years old and he had asthma. Now, when he requested or he put in that request for his inhaler, for his insurance company denied it, said, well, let's try step therapy instead. There's a $550 out-of-pocket cost, and he chose to pay his rent instead because he didn't want to be unhoused. 2 weeks later, he had an asthmatic attack and he passed away. Those types of stories need to be told, and insurance companies must be stopped. And I believe the state legislature can pass legislation that would no longer allow insurance companies to deny healthcare coverage when you desperately need it, like life-saving care. Second, we need to ensure that we are giving cost of living adjustments to our state retirees. This has been something that has been coming up a lot on doors, and the unaffordability of Central Texas continues to contribute to the inability to access healthcare. And so I want to ensure that every single state retiree has the healthcare benefits to continue to be able to access healthcare and also continue to live in the community that they serve. And third, in terms of accessing healthcare, making sure that we are reestablishing access in Medicare's proportion. I think that every woman and every family should have the decision in their own right to make what's best for themselves. And of course, we've seen the continuous attacks on not only our contraception, but our ability to be able to get miscarriage care, which is abortion care. And these are the types of policies and fights that we need to take on in the state legislature. Insurance companies, cost of living adjustments for our state retirees, and also ensuring that women have what they need to ensure that they can expand and begin their families as well. Thank you.
Are we continuing on with that question?
You can respond if you'd like, yes.
Okay, so I have 3 things that I want to talk about when it comes to healthcare here in the state of Texas. First, access, affordability, and preventative care. Access is ACA expansion. You heard wonderful options and opportunities for us to put it to the people so we can have that. Increase access. Affordability through price transparency. And it's not always about reinventing the wheel. There have been many attempts from our previous legislature to try and allow for price transparency and bring down costs of things like medication through employer bulk purchasing that allows employers to purchase prescriptions bulk to reduce the cost for their employees. And then third, preventative care. Working with community centers, making sure our rural areas in the state of Texas have access to healthcare. And healthcare is also inclusive of nutrition. There are many food deserts in the state of Texas that we need to work with the Ag Commissioner, with local grocery stores to provide adequate nutrition to the people in the state of Texas, because that is part of healthcare, making sure that they have adequate, affordable, nutritional food that will help them, especially when we talk about how we're trying to educate our youth and proper eating, and that is going to take care of a lot of things down the road. That's a future thought. So those are the 3 things.
Thank you for the question. Again, Jeremy Hendricks. So I'm the only person on this panel that actually has sat on a healthcare trust fund for the last 17 years for the Laborers International Union of America, where we fight every day to make sure that we expand and maintain health coverage for our members. During that process, we saw the implementation of Obamacare, which we became experts on, and actually in service to other contractors, the chamber that we were a member of, and others actually helped them through that process. And so Having dealt with these issues for a very long time, I know what folks are going through and struggling with. We've absolutely got to expand Medicaid. That's the first step. And I think doing a constitutional amendment was a great idea. That's something that absolutely, because the state of Texas supports it, even though we have folks in that legislature that don't, we've absolutely got to have price transparency and make sure that we're bringing down the cost of prescription drugs. The other thing I'm hearing, I know this isn't a rural district, but we all know people throughout Texas, our rural hospitals are closing. We've absolutely got to protect our rural hospitals and make sure that folks don't have to travel an hour and a half, 2 hours to get the health care that they need. And so we've got to make sure that we're absolutely incentivizing our rural hospitals, but also making sure that we've got enough funds going into our education system to make sure that we have the next generation of doctors coming along. Because I guarantee there are people in this room right now that when they go to get a appointment with a doctor, it might be 6 months from now. And we have folks that absolutely can't wait that long. So those are some of the things I would absolutely do. The other thing I'll say is I have a career of building coalitions. And what it's going to take to get this done in the legislature is building a coalition that is not focused on the partisan aspect of this, but actually cares about people and the people that are suffering and dying.
Yeah, I can take another question. Good morning, y'all. Well, what are your thoughts on establishing important women's health care and right to choose?
Can I start? Great, a great question. I'm glad that you brought it up because it's stories that we need to continue telling. I was actually a lead staffer as chief of staff to Representative Donna Howard when we saw the effective ban on abortion. I was also part of her team when we saw the fall of Roe. I was also part of her team and part of the Texas House staff when we tried to reestablish and realized that we'd gone too far and we had to file the Life of the Mother Act. And that's the reality. And we don't tell these stories enough, but I'm here to tell you. Stories of Nevaeh Crane, a 19-year-old young woman from Central Texas who was pregnant and was celebrating her baby shower. And unfortunately, she suffered a miscarriage, and the doctors here in Central Texas had their hands tied and said, according to the statute, we cannot intervene just yet. Now, unfortunately, this woman passed away, and she was 19 years old. And it was all because of the effective ban on abortion, HB 8. Now, this last legislative session, this last year, we had to pass the Life of the Mother Act, where we wrote clarifications for doctors to be able to act when they need to. It was a clarification of the law because women were dying. And Republicans just turned around and said, shrug, oh well. There's loss of life going on in this state because of the statutes and policies that we passed in this state. And I have been at the forefront since 2019 trying to ensure that we are fighting for women's health. I've actually gotten to work for Representative Howard while she is chairwoman or vice chairwoman of the Article 2 Committee and Appropriations, where we have found funding for foster care youth. We found funding for women's health programs across low-income communities. We have expanded access to food assistance programs, all within Article 2, because I believe that the magic happens as Democrats in the Texas legislature, or when you're in the minority party, which I strongly believe we're going to flip this November. When you have the tools and the resources and the skills to ensure that you're going to be an effective legislator, which is what I want to do, I don't want to just be a noisemaker for Central Texas. I want to be an impactful legislator that's actually going to pass effective policy for Central Texas, and I know how to do that. Working for Rep. Howard in Article 2, I've been able to accomplish many, many things and expand many programs through our state budget, and I hope I can continue to do that work. But absolutely imperative that we reestablish women's health and accessibility to abortion care and health care. I have personal journey with this. I attempted to expand my family a couple of years ago, and unfortunately I suffered a miscarriage just like many other women in this state. Now, thankfully, right, I was in the UK where I got assisted care, no questions asked. That's the type of care that we deserve in the state of Texas. The doctors and nurses that held my hand said, this is not your fault. We know that you are hundreds of thousands of miles away from your family, but we're here for you. And that is the type of care that Nevaeh Crane and the other women that passed away in the last few years absolutely deserved, and that's what I am going to be fighting for every single day in the Texas House, so that every single young woman and families in the state of Texas can expand their families when they want to.
So I'm going to try to keep this straight to the point. I think about this very often when I have a 2-year-old daughter at home and another on the way. what kind of experience are they going to have growing up? What about, and these are going to be personal for me, but it is not just my experience. There are many people in the state of Texas who are going through the same situation. I've already thought about how are we going to go to California right now with our upcoming baby if we have any kind of issues. And that's not what I want for anybody here in the state to also experience. However, at the same time, many of my conversations with people who are actually on the other side of the aisle, as I've been canvassing and knocking on doors, not just Democratic doors, the one issue that they will still stick to their heels on is abortion. And that is a very unfortunate thing, even though they agree with us 90% of the way, 95% of the way. The one that they're sticking their heels in has been abortion. So it is going to take an effort from everybody here, and you heard Nathan speak earlier, that we have more registered Democrats in the state of Texas, that we need to work effectively to push care for mothers across the aisle, because right now, where it stands, it will not be done. And hopefully in this upcoming year, we can see a flip in the state house. 14 seats we got to get. So we can see that and start making effective change. Because I don't want people to have the same similar plans that I'm already trying to set up. And that's all I really have to say about that. That's what I want to try.
So clearly this is one of the most progressive seats in Texas, House District 50. So I would hope that we are all champions of women's choice on this panel. And unfortunately, my wife is unable to have children, so we're childless. But as someone that is an only child, my mother who had 9 miscarriages, I was the miracle baby that she thought she would never have, first in our family to go to college, so very proud of that. So I know that my mom and dad struggled their entire lives with wanting to have a bigger family. So we ended up keeping foster children. I always say that I had hundreds of brothers and sisters over the years because we were the first landing spot in a foster system that often neglects people. And so we had everything from infants to high school children, and it taught me how to really deal with people. It really inspired kind of the person I am today. But seeing what people go through, we absolutely have to repeal all the amazingly horrible laws that is restricting women's access. We've absolutely got to get the right judges in. We've got to change the makeup of the legislature to get this done. But in the meantime, what we've got to do is provide care to women. We've got to expand health care. We've got to expand access to neonatal care. We've got to expand access to child sustenance, because we absolutely have food deserts and the inability for folks to get formula for their children. So we've absolutely got to do what we can at this point in this next legislative session to make sure that people that are having children have access to good health care, they have access to the food they need. And in the meantime, we've got to work hard as Democrats to change the makeup of this legislature and elect new judges and make sure that we have a political system that actually respects women and respects choice. But what you need in this seat is someone that's going to know how to fight and win and build coalitions. And that's something I've done my entire career. So definitely stand with women's reproductive rights and look forward to fighting in that issue.
I think Jeremy's right. A lot of us align on this, and we all have a personal connection to it. I'm a woman who grew up in Texas. I didn't have health insurance as a teenager and young woman, and I relied on Planned Parenthood for my contraception and my monthly health. And I remember when Wendy Davis put on her sneakers and filibustered, my first baby was still carried in a carrier, and I strapped her on and I went to the Senate gallery to support Wendy Davis. This is very important. This is very personal. Someone really close to me and my family lives in Massachusetts. I won't even say who it is because I'm on camera and I'm worried about her. She does pill packing, where she meets up with other women and they pack abortion pills to send to Texas, which the Texas legislature has criminalized. And as a lawyer, this is one of the main things as a lawyer that just shocks me about the Texas ledge, is they will gladly pass illegal and unconstitutional laws. It is unconstitutional to criminalize behavior like that, to criminalize leaving the state or sending abortion pills into the state. And so we need to understand that, and the stuff that comes out in committee, we've got to bring it to the floor debate. We've got to have exceptions for rape and incest. We have to expand the definition of life of the mother. It doesn't just need to be imminent danger. We need to put these decisions in the hands of the caregivers. We all agree on this. It is critical. We have fallen so far into a deep, dark hole that doesn't protect women's right to choose in Texas, and this is a top issue for all of us, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's
one of my campaigns I want to run on is fully restoring reproductive rights. That is part of human rights, healthcare, protecting people. Since Texas has banned it, the death rate has gone up 57% compared to the national average of 11. That is disgusting. If you care about human lives and want human decency, we need to protect people and have just access to healthcare. Thanks.
We've got time for one more question.
So, ladies and gentlemen, what are your views on racial justice? Racial equality across the board.
Is anyone? Okay, great. Racial injustice and what happens in the state is absolutely something that every legislator should be paying attention to. The truth of the matter is privatizing our jails so that someone can profit off of someone's behavior or someone's history is absolutely unacceptable. So it absolutely work to get rid of any sort of private jails or any sort of private prisons here in the state of Texas. Secondly, we need to be looking at second chance opportunities because as we know, our criminal justice system targets our minority communities. We've known that. We've had a history in this state of racially profiling and racially identifying individuals and making sure that they're incarcerated. So I want to make sure that we are looking at every individual that is incarcerated. We are providing rehabilitation services. We are investing in those types of programs to ensure that they are coming out a better person. And the truth of the matter is that most of these crimes are committed before a young man or a young woman is 18. And what the data shows is that a lot of these individuals will likely not recommit or reoffend in their lifetime as long as they get as they get older. And so the truth of the matter is there's a desperate need to look at our juvenile justice system. It's insane that we have a prison system for our youth when their frontal lobes are not fully developed. This is absolutely imperative for a legislator in House District 50 to be talking about and fighting for, and I will definitely be working with Chairman or Speaker Joe Moody, Speaker Pro Tem of the Democratic of the Texas House for the Democratic Party. Actually, we're really excited to have his endorsement of our campaign. He's a longtime leader out of El Paso, and like I mentioned, he is our Speaker Pro Tem of the Texas House, and he has been the lead the lead representative to try and stop what is the word I'm looking for?
I don't know, I'm trying to think.
Death penalty. My goodness, there we go. Sorry about that. We're trying to abolish the death penalty, which is absolutely imperative because we know that racially it is targeted toward our minority communities. These are the types of things that we need to be talking about. Is our justice system is broken. They target minority communities. We don't give the youth an opportunity to be rehabilitated and get a second chance to get onto the community and be productive members of society. That's the type of solution and legislation that I've been working on since 2019. I'm a legislative-minded staffer. I want to work on effective policy. And that's what I believe House District 50 deserves, is to look at every single avenue, including racial injustices in our state. So thank you for your question.
I appreciate this question, and I just want to say that racial justice is not one of these issues that sits over here on its own. It's similar to immigration. This is an issue that infuses everything that we talk about when we talk about affordability and transit and education. So I'll just pick a couple of issues. Earlier, or at the end of last year, the Supreme Court came out with a decision telling ICE that they can racially profile in order to detain people, that they can use someone's race in order to determine whether they detain that person. And as we've seen in all these cities around the country, ICE and CBP and DPS have taken this as a message that they are now permitted to go out on the streets and actually racially profile legally, and the Supreme Court has not put a stop to it. I also think that this starts in education. The way that programs that expand education and knowledge and information about the realities of our history in the public education system and the crackdown on the higher education system and the fact that African American studies departments are being closed in our colleges and universities is absolutely unacceptable. So those are just a couple. But really, we could talk about anything. You name an issue and we'll connect it to racial justice. And so it is infused in everything. And it's another one of these issues all of us care about. We cannot let it go. We have to remember that no matter what we're talking about, we are talking about racial justice. We are talking about immigration justice. Even if we're talking about some little piddly bill that doesn't seem all that important. It's everywhere.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion was what I was doing for the decade working with the University of Texas, and what actually led me to want to make a change when the legislature cut DEI programming for state entities. That is one of the first areas that we need to bring back, because as we just heard, African American studies, Mexican American studies are being eliminated from our universities across the state. It's being whitewashed in our schools with the new bluebonnet curriculum that the school districts are having to use because that's the way that they can actually get money to educate the students. So we are seeing a systematic dismantling of education that takes away from racial justice, and the school to prison pipeline that has been effectively hindering many of the people in our communities needs to be reformed. And luckily, you're going to hear from some justices of the precincts here to hear about them, because what they do and how they work and the programs that they have set out to work on are things that need to be augmented and brought through more areas, not just in our district, but in the state of Texas. So.
Thank you very much for the question. As Kate said, equity, inclusion, equality is in every decision we need to be making. That's why for the last 20 years of my career, I've absolutely fought to make sure that we have second chance hiring opportunities for folks, working on diversion programs. So currently I've worked with Judge Brown, Judge Needles, Judge Hernandez in Travis County, and others to get these programs going, to make sure that folks have a pipeline, not to prison, but a pipeline to a good career. And so that's something I've worked on for a long time. We've gotten the Urban League involved, we've gotten Workers Defense Project involved, we've got the NAAC involved, we've gotten the Equal Justice Center involved, and a lot of other community groups that serve our Black and brown communities, because we've got to make sure that we're providing opportunity. That's why folks like Commissioner Trevelyan have absolutely endorsed our campaign, because that's his number one issue, making sure that folks have the opportunity to succeed. And unfortunately in Texas, as has been said already, our criminal justice system is broken. We've got to make sure that we, as Democrats, are electing good judges that are making good decisions. It's also why I've got Travis County DA, Jose Garza, who has absolutely changed the way we look at the criminal justice system in Travis County as a supporter of this campaign. We will continue to make sure that we take those diversion programs to the statewide level. They should be required in every single courtroom in the state of Texas. We have to have veterans diversion. We've got to have diversion for every other person, and absolutely youth diversion programs as well. And so the work that I've already done on that proves that I have a track record, I have the understanding, and I've already gotten stuff done. That's also why we helped found the Austin Infrastructure Academy with Mayor Watson, Judge Brown, and others, to make sure that we have a system in place that has wraparound services, that has the support for the community to actually make sure they're succeeding in those career opportunities. And so we'll continue to take that same work that I've done to the state legislature. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Well, education, as they all said, we need to stop them from trying to whitewash the education, not let the white Christian nationalist win and try to get rid of the racist history that we have. Also, get rid of private prisons, because those ones, like as I said, don't want to not profit what people we should do. Sorry, not really good at public speaking, I apologize. Not really, we need to rehabilitate them, because if you look at countries like Norway and Sweden, they don't have as many people that come back to prison after the first time they've gone. So we can learn from the other countries how to do things better. And one of the huge things I want to work with is trying to figure out what they're doing different and how we can implement that here to protect people and save them, rehabilitate them properly. Sorry, that's.
Thank you, candidates. We appreciate you. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, y'all.
As candidates have been coming in, they have this leading literature in the back on the tables and on the walls. Some of them have also brought yard signs you're welcome to grab.
Up next, can I have the candidate for Justice of the Peace? Precinct 1. Yeah, let's go ahead and bring up Precinct 1 and 2. We'll start with Precinct 1.
Yeah, 1 o'clock. Yeah, and get back. Good luck.
We'll start with them and then we'll see you guys and we'll let everybody. All right, for Precinct 1, we have Hairston and Judge Ciara Parks. For Precinct 2, we have Mariel Kelly and Maggie Ellis. We'll start with Precinct 1. The microphone is a little bit slow. When you have 45 seconds left and you've read when you're done, you have 3 minutes to start.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Andrew Hairston. I'm a civil rights attorney, democratic socialist, and writer running for Justice of the Peace in Precinct 1 of Travis County on March 3rd to reinforce that no one is disposable. 2026 marks a decade that I've been a lawyer, and across my entire career, I have focused on dismantling the school-to-prison pipeline, as John just mentioned. I have focused for 3 regular legislative sessions on the issue of truancy, which caused me to run for Justice of the Peace. Most recently, in 2025, I fought against House Bill 2947, which would ease the path to Justice Court after a first-time truancy prevention measure was issued to a child. That is the type of advocacy that I will bring to the Precinct 1 Justice Court if I'm so fortunate to be elected. Now, I've been thinking about policy recommendations for this court and thinking about how we can proactively support our community. I will implement Rourk to student conferences. There's certainly a legal threshold. If you have a certain number of unexcused absences, you will be sent to the Justice Court. But my staff and I will work with Manor ISD, Austin ISD, and any independent school districts within the precinct to do prophylactic measures before we get to Justice Court and really figure out the root causes of what's going on with young people and parents who are accused of contributing to non-attendance. We also will have safe harbor days to ensure that folks who have outstanding warrants will have an opportunity to come to the court. We'll extend the hours of the court to make sure that working people really have an opportunity to be there and figure out what's going on as well. And then finally, we will employ very holistic staff, juvenile case managers, to really figure out what's going on in a cross-programmatic way in the lives of the litigants of the court, and use funding streams from Commissioner's Court and the Texas Juvenile Justice Department to support these efforts. We are so proud to have been endorsed by District Attorney Jose Garza, Councilmember Mike Siegel in Austin, Councilmembers O'Codry in Austin, Councilmember Krista Lane in Austin as well. And we're the only labor endorsed candidate in this race. We have the endorsement of IBEW Local 520 and the United Workers of Integral Care. We'd be so fortunate to have you join that growing list of supporters and really make this seat ours as we labor toward a better world. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Judge Ciara Parks, and I am running for Justice of the Peace for Precinct 1. I'm a wife, I'm a mom of 3. My 3 kiddos are actually back there under the table. Pass out signs and hold cards. And I'm a judge out in the Manor Municipal Court part-time. I am running for this court because I believe that experience matters, and I have both lived and legal experience. My lived experience is growing up as my mom was a single mom. She had me when she was 17 years old. I'm the oldest of 4 siblings, first in my family to go to college and law school. But growing up, we lived in poverty, on government assistance, faced homelessness. At one point, my family and I lived at the Salvation Army Homeless Shelter, and then in the projects after that. We faced mental health and substance abuse issues, as well as incarceration. I learned how to write letters to my uncles while they were in prison. My grandma taught me how to do that. one of many things. And so that lived experience is going to bring compassion and dignity to the court. In addition to that, my legal experience. The JP1 court handles, as Mr. Hairston said, juvenile truancy cases, but they also handle Class C misdemeanors that are fine only. They handle civil cases that involve small claims, evictions and debt cases. So the small claims cases are under $20,000, as well as administrative hearings. And my background has covered all of these things. I have managed civil litigation. I have prosecuted both criminal and juvenile cases. I have managed a staff, which the Justice Court is a standalone court and has a staff of people, including clerks. And I manage a staff of over 31 people at the Juvenile Probation Department, where I serve as a general counsel, and where I also help to come up with solutions for families and kids in the community to keep the kids, to help get the kids the services that they need, but to also keep the community safe. And so I'm running based on my lived and legal experience. This Justice Court is very important because it is a very litigant-heavy court, and I have the experience that is going to take this court forward, looking at new things to do in the court, definitely expanding access to justice, making sure the court is accessible to everyone, making sure people understand the law and the different types of proceedings, not only juvenile truancy cases, but the small claims cases, the Class C misdemeanors. This is a very important court that requires experience, and I have that experience. So I would appreciate your endorsement. I have been endorsed by Commissioner Jeff Trevelyan, Representative Cheryl Cole, a host of Democratic clubs here in Travis County. Although I did not get the endorsement for AFSCME, I did have the most votes. So I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Afternoon. My name is Mariel Kelly. I am running for Travis County Justice of the Peace Precinct 2 to bring accountability back to the court. I expect my opponent will talk about how his court has disposed of more cases than any other JP court in Travis County or Williamson County. However, what he won't talk about is who's actually doing that work. In just an 8-week snapshot in 2024, the court ran about 45 dockets, and visiting judges handled over 35 of those dockets. That's 80%. In 2024, it is true that the Justice of the Peace Precinct 2 has about 20% more caseload than the next busiest court, which is actually JP1. But in 2024, Justice of the Peace Precinct 1 relied on visiting judges just 64 times, while JP2 relied on visiting judges 161 times. These cases matter, and as Ms. Parks mentioned, as Mr. Hairston mentioned, this is eviction, small claims, truancy, Class C criminal, traffic and non-traffic offenses. So these are really important cases. This is really the people's court where most people interact with the justice system in one way or another. And it's important that the person that's in the court is taking it seriously and respecting the position to show up and get the job done. I'm a former public school teacher. I taught high school social studies at Hendricks High School, actually, over in Pflugerville. And after teaching high school, I went to law school. So that experience of teaching high school and dealing with students has given me a unique perspective on the truancy cases that come through these courts. Truancy is often a symptom of underlying issues, and I am fully committed to working with community partners to provide resources to families so that we can put a stop to those issues and give them the support that they need to show up and go to school. I've been a licensed attorney for over 10 years. I practiced on the civil side as well as on the criminal side. And so that experience gives me the opportunity to see the full range of cases that come through the JP courts. I am currently a prosecutor at the Williamson County Attorney's Office, previously a prosecutor at the Travis County Attorney's Office. And so that experience in 2 different counties has shown me how 2 different counties can operate in a justice court. And actually, the time in Williamson County has showed me the opportunity of starting a teen court program. It's one of my top priorities if elected, is to start a teen court program, which goes well beyond the state mandated youth diversion program that all JPs were required to start in 2025. I would appreciate your support and your endorsement. Thank you very much.
Good morning, folks. I ask that you bear with me. I was in the ER until about 5 a.m. this morning with a family member getting a gallbladder removed. So I'm going off for 2 hours of sleep, so bear with me. My name is Randall Slagle. I am your JP for Precinct 2. I've served for 3 terms. I'm running for a 4th term. Back in 2014, I ran against and defeated the last incumbent Republican JP in Travis County.
All right.
There was a reason for that. I had a great job. I enjoyed what I did. I've been a lawyer for 20 years, but there was a need. The previous judge was having kids in truancy court handcuffed and driven in a police vehicle to guard her beds. That's a problem. That shouldn't be happening. So I ran, we beat him. The court has completely changed. Over the past 11 years, I have resolved more criminal and civil cases than any other JP in Travis or Williamson County. Okay? We changed the way the court is run. JP2 since the 70s Travis County since the 70s has had 5 JPs. 2026, how many do we have? 5. Precinct 2 has grown exponentially, but we don't have more resources. The unique thing about this court is there are 2 courtrooms. No other JP in Travis County has 2 courtrooms. So I run 2 courts all the time, a visiting judge in courtroom B, myself in courtroom A. This is how we can take an incredibly busy caseload and bring access to justice. I've been endorsed by Lloyd Doggett, Greg Casar, James Talarico, all of the commissioners, all the constables, Rudy Mateer, Kim Holliday, a number of folks that you know in this room. As far as clubs go, I've been endorsed by almost every club that endorses here in Travis County. Again, there's a reason for that. We work really hard. Just last year, I started the first juvenile diversion program in which kids charged with a crime don't have to enter a plea, they don't have to pay anything, and they ultimately get their case dismissed. I want to take it a step further. We want to start a program in which they don't have to come into the courtroom at all. I think that's a better policy to keep our kids out of the courtroom. I was with this club the year that you started. I've gotten endorsement from you every time in the past. I would ask for your support one more time. Again, Randall Slagle, I'm your judge at JP Precinct 2.
We've got time for like one question if anybody has something. I just wanted to make a comment. My daughter had a case dealing with your court. She's a lawyer. She told me that your court is one of the best run courts that she has ever had to deal with. She ultimately didn't go before you, but she just wanted me to know that you run a tight ship.
Thank you.
Anybody have a question?
Hello, I'm a fellow student of the Travis County area, and I was wondering if you guys could describe any specific ways that you would integrate mental health initiatives and restorative justice programs as your role as Justice of the Peace, particularly when involving or going with cases that involve students.
How do you involve mental health programs into the cases that you see involving students?
Thank you so much for that question. I just celebrated my 3rd sobriety anniversary on January 26th. So I understand that people are really hurting right now. You know, exploitation, capitalism, imperialism are really bearing down on our people in 2026. And the Justice Court, whether Precinct 1 or Precinct 2 or any of the other precincts, is that place where we can implement those restorative justice initiatives to really uplift people in these trying times. I have some thoughts about having community service be a part of this framework of what's offered to the court, through the court, to litigants, rather than these prohibitive and expensive fines and fees, really making sure that folks can move forward with community service and this idea of restorative justice and connection to the community being how they move forward from a tough time in their life. And then again, that safe harbor policy that I mentioned, we intend to have this as the People's Court, that this is the place, as my counterpart said, that is most likely to bring you in if you have a legal issue, and to make it feel accessible and open to folks, and not intimidating and to really be informed by the various grants that might be available to us to ensure that restorative justice is the way forward and that mental health concerns are addressed through a holistic approach and not a punitive one.
I absolutely think it is very important to focus on mental health. A lot of times, people are coming into, whether it be the justice court or any part of the justice system, due to mental health or substance abuse issues. And so really focusing on that, I'm a very big community advocate and working with different organizations in the community that provide mental health resources, as well as Travis County. Travis County, we live in a wonderful county where they are working and recognizing that there are issues that people are suffering with, and handling it in the justice system is not the correct way. And there are a number of different initiatives that I would partner with the county on as well. So making sure that people that come to the justice court know that there are resources here in the community for them, and putting them in touch with those services, and especially our youth. There are a number of organizations that work even through the juvenile probation department that are based in the community, that youth do not even need to be affiliated with Gardner Vets or juvenile probation. But there are a lot of different organizations that provide different resources to youth, as well as their families, to make sure that they have the resources that they need to stabilize mental health and to help them to be productive in the community.
It's imperative that we consider mental health in any type of case. I think that would be most obvious, I guess, in like truancy cases, but also possibly eviction cases, small claims, things like that. Like I mentioned, truancy is often a symptom of underlying issues, and that could be mental health, not only of the truant student, but also mental health involving their family, if it's something that they're having to deal with at home, and supporting them supporting their family members. So an eye towards mental health on every type of case that a JP court touches, or that any court touches, is imperative, because at a very baseline level, you have to ensure that the person coming before the court is competent. There's not any kind of competency issue that would prohibit them from even entering a plea if it was a criminal case. But beyond that, just supporting them. And like Ciara mentioned, mental health shouldn't be your ticket into the justice system. It's completely broken that our justice system is having to deal with mental health, but a jail is not the place to receive mental health services. Travis County is starting a new mental health diversion program, and so I think it would be a really interesting opportunity to partner with the Travis County Mental Health Diversion Program. If there are any cases involving litigants in the JP courts, to partner with them and provide the services and support that they need.
So currently in our truancy diversion program, we work with a number of organizations that offer services to help with mental health. And I think it's really made a big difference over the last year. In our general, just our criminal department, when we work with juveniles, also partnering with other organizations. We partner with the Harvest Foundation, different folks that have doctors and different individuals that can help our kids face different issues. Because, like she mentioned, a lot of times, let's say truancy, for example, it's really the least of their worries that they're dealing with at home. There are generally many other issues that kiddos are facing, and not attending class is just a result of something that's happening. So we work. We have a juvenile case manager that also goes out to the schools, goes to their homes, visits with individuals, and he also helps put them in touch with resources that can help, specifically with mental health, and we're really trying to make a difference.
Thank you all for coming. We appreciate you, and hope you will have a great weekend. I saw all of you have events on Mobilize this weekend for block walking, so if you would like to get involved, I know we would appreciate your support.
Stay warm.
Thank you.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I get the candidates for Travis County Commissioner Precinct 2 up here, please?
so we'll start next. The microphone is a little funky, so you probably don't want to use it. I just project as best as you can. We have 3 minutes on the timer. It turns yellow at 45 seconds. Then when you're done, I will let you know, and then we have time for questions. It's been flickering on and off. It's not. It's the cable. I think yeah. So ignore the flickering there. So with Mr. Reyna and Madam Marzulo, they're here to join us today. Thank you. Bridget is on her way, and so we will go ahead and get started.
Which one of us? Oh, you want me to go? Sure. All right, thank you, everybody. My name is Rick Estrada. I'm running for Travis County Commissioner Precinct 2. Thank you so much for giving me the time today to come out here. One reason, actually, my first meeting with people in this race was up in the far northeast part of District 2. One reason that's so important to me is I grew up, actually, about 90 minutes from my county seat in Miami-Dade County, Florida. We're here in Texas. We have pecan trees and coyotes. I had papayas and the cashew alligator snapping turtles. So it's always been important to me to get out to the farther parts of our district. One of the top things I'm running on, it's most important to me, is communication with constituents. Too many people in our county do not know who their county commissioner is. And that is on the county commission, not the people in the county. The county commission needs to be reaching out, building the plans for the county, building how we run things with the people. That is the only way you build equity and resilience. You connect with communities, you build not from Lavaca Street, but with the people who are walking on the streets you live in every day. Now, I also want to jump into 2 of my top priorities. One of them is water and disasters. We have a water crisis. Parts of our county are running short on water. Last year, the state voted to fund the Texas Water Board with $1 billion a year. I've spent 12 years of my career helping state and local governments build systems, all of those grant funded. I led a team that in New York State during COVID helped them build their $1 billion state disaster grant program. I know how to get to that grant money, and I will lead our county in working to access those Texas Water Fund dollars to conserve, prevent loss, and access new sources of water. And one of the best things you can do in these situations is leverage 2 sources of funding. So with water funding, you also get to leverage disaster funding. It prevents floods and helps prevent flood disasters. So I would be looking to fund both water and disaster risk mitigation based on those. And finally, healthcare. It is hard to get the right healthcare you need if you're in our public health system. Fortunately, Central Health has come up with a new Islands of Care plan. This is designed to connect people across the whole county, across integral care, which provides mental health, community care, and central health, to provide better health services in an integrated way that works for everybody. And that's how you build equity. You get people in the health system early, getting what they need in the places they need. One of my top priorities, I'll end with, is getting vaccines provided by county services or partially funded. Because as COVID vaccines are getting more expensive, we need to make sure everyone gets them to stay healthy. So one of my top priorities would be using our county infrastructure to help provide all sorts of vaccines, especially COVID. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Amanda Morazulo. I'm also running for Travis County Commissioner in Precinct 2. A little about me, I'm a civil rights attorney. I work at the Austin Community Law Center, where we help our neighbors with any kind of legal issue that they need help in. So we're hitting the folks who don't qualify for free legal aid, but can't afford to pay someone $500 or $1,000 an hour. So it's really a good chunk of our community out there. So we do have a good sense of the needs of people who need our government services. And I'm running because of the political crisis that we're in. We have a federal government that is getting more draconian every day. When I started, I was just talking about people being kidnapped off the street. Now we're talking about the federal government shooting people and arresting journalists for reporting. And then we have a state government that is defunding our school system and targeting our neighbors. I am running at the county level because that is the interface between the federal, the state, and the local government. ICE is coming to our jail up to twice a day to pick people up. And we have a lot of people arrested for low-level infractions in our jail. The county can do something to fix that. They can divert people, protect people from being picked up by ICE. Because the people who end up in our jail are the folks who need help the most. I also am well prepared to handle this fight. I led the Texas Defender Service as the executive director when we won 2 cases against Ken Paxton before the U.S. Supreme Court. I personally worked on legislation that cut executions in our state by 2/3. I know how to fight with Republicans and win. I know how to work with them and bring them over to my side of the aisle. And that is what we need to do right now. We need to be owning the moral high ground. We need to be explaining what is happening, why it's horrible, and getting people to vote with us and join us. And I can do that. And I'm the only one in the race who's prepared to take on that battle. The incumbent who will be here in a few minutes had to be sued by the ACLU to provide counsel at first appearance. She will talk about creating a public defender office. She was not in a single meeting about putting that together. So what you need right now is someone who can lead on civil rights issues and carry them forward. So I urge you, vote for a civil rights attorney to protect your civil rights in this moment where they're under attack. Thank you.
All right, while we wait for Bridget, would anyone like to ask a question of the candidates?
I'll ask a question. Sure. Hi, I'm Brian Smith. I'm a precinct chair in Wells Branch. One of the things that our Travis County commissioners voted on several years ago was a massive tax package for Tesla. Forgetting for a second the leanings of their leadership, what would you do to investigate and hold Tesla's feet and other large employers who have received tax breaks, hold their feet to a fire and hold them accountable should they not be fulfilling their end of the deal for their tax breaks?
Sure. I certainly do not want to enrich Elon Musk's pocket in any way. Tesla is separate from him. We obviously have a great package we've given them to help attract Tesla here, bring jobs that now pay $30 an hour, but they also have dumped pollution into lakes nearby them. They have mistreated their workers. They've made a dangerous situation. We need to have a proper workplace that contributes to our environment here in Travis County. Let me make that clear. Now, what would I do about that issue? I really think it's time for an outside counsel look at our contract with Tesla and what enforcement options we have. I think it's time for a second perspective. I would bring an outside counsel for a look at that. But more importantly, I think, again, you only get equity when you engage people. We need, in our look at Tesla's contract, is what is going wrong there and what we can enforce. We need unions involved. We need local environmental groups involved. And we need the people of our county involved in looking at that and saying, what do we need to do better to enforce this? And then we do need to enforce their contractual obligations to the maximum. We absolutely need to make sure they are complying with what they signed with us and treating Travis County right.
So I would be a bit more aggressive. I don't need to hire outside counsel to take a look at that contract. It says very explicitly that Tesla will follow all state, local, and federal law. What we know from reporting is that they have been found by agencies to have violated federal OSHA requirements by OSHA. That's a finding, it's a fact. We don't need to look into whether or not it happened. It has also exceeded state emission standards. So literally the smoke coming out of the factory is at a rate that polluted out of the mouth that the state government says is too much. So yes, that is found in effect. They've also violated their city contracts. So that right there is enough for the county to say they are in breach, the contract is canceled, and to force them to come back to the table and renegotiate. That's what I would do.
Bridget, you have 3 minutes to put you on the spot.
Great, thank you so much. My apologies, I was coming from a coffee and it ran a little late.
There's a timer here, 45 seconds. You have 45 seconds when it turns yellow and your time is done.
Okay, great, thank you so much. Thank you all for hosting this forum and coming here on Saturday. I am a long-time proven progressive. I have worked with many of you over the years, and you know me. I am not here making campaign promises. I'm here to talk with you about what we've done and what we will continue to do, which is the reason why I'm running for re-election. We have had three major priorities: affordability, greater access to justice, and climate change. On affordability, we have literally moved the market. We have control over what we pay our employees, and I've made it a priority, working with my colleagues in the Commissioner's Court, to change the budgeting process so that compensation is at the front end, not the back end where it used to be. And we have increased pay for our county employees, helping to move the market. We've had the greatest consecutive across-the-board pay increases in the history of the county because of that change in the budgeting process that we made. We've also increased our minimum wage by over 47% in the last 5 years. And that has definitely moved the market, increasing wages for people in our region. We've invested heavily in affordable housing. And this has been a significant initiative where I've pushed the developers we've partnered with on affordable apartment units, 13,500, and many of them deeply affordable, in the 30-40% area median income. We have passed paid parental leave for our employees, extending it to 12 weeks, which I made the motion to do. We have invested in other initiatives to literally increase affordability in our region, including putting Biden economic development funds into 1,900 new affordable housing units for people transitioning out of homelessness, deeply affordable units. Climate change, we've won 4 national awards on the initiatives that I've undertaken, and that will have the most profound effect on future generations. And we see it with the freeze that we've all lived through, the rain bomb that happened this last summer. These are affecting people's lives now. On greater access to justice, we have dramatically increased our civil rights advocacy at the county. We've stood up the public defender office. We've created counsel at first appearance, which is one of the most robust representation of attorneys for anyone who comes in contact with our justice system. And we have the highest pretrial release rates as a result of that. So these are just some of the initiatives that we've been working on, free childcare, and lots more work to do, and I appreciate your support. Thank you very much.
We don't have a whole lot of time for more questions, and Amanda and Rick have already answered some when we were here for you. I want to give you a chance to respond to the last question that was regards to Tesla not fulfilling their contractual side of being able to build in our community. So what are you doing currently to hold Tesla accountable for their violations?
This is an important question, and lawyers understand this. We are going through a legal compliance process that is incredibly thorough. And I have great confidence in our county attorney, Delia Garza, whose legal team is working with our economic development staff to literally require intense documentation from Tesla. That's the contract compliance process that's underway now. And because it's a legal review, we can't talk about it. But I guarantee you, we are holding them accountable. And there's another misinformation that's been put out there that we're handing over millions of dollars to them. We have not given Tesla a penny. That's important to understand. And what they get will be determined by the results of the compliance process. And the other thing that's important is we voted on this contract as a Commissioner's Court in July of 2020. We were 4 months into the pandemic. People were still washing their groceries because they didn't know how the virus was transmitted. People were dying. And this guy wanted to build electric vehicles, which for me and for any environmentalist, transitioning to electric vehicles is a critical part of addressing climate change. So yeah, I voted for the jobs, and we went back and listened to the transcripts. Almost 60% of those testifying including community leaders, supported us doing the deal. And community leaders from Del Valle said to us, you have a duty to invest in infrastructure in our part of the county, Eastern Travis County, and provide jobs for kids who don't have a college degree. And that's what part of the deal is with Tesla. And you don't have to like the guy to see the value of 21,000 jobs per their latest report, paying an average of over $30 an hour with health insurance on day one, benefits, retirement, and a ladder out of poverty for people who have less than a college degree. So yeah, I voted for the jobs, but we are holding them accountable.
All right, we've got our last two spots here. Last two candidates. Thank you for sticking with us this long. All right. Okay, so you have 3 minutes. There's also people joining us virtually, so 3 minutes. Carrie's got the timer. It turns yellow at 45 seconds. Would you like to start? I'm sorry. Would you like to start? Sure. Oh, and the mic is funky, so.
I heard. Can everybody hear me in the back?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Jessica Cohen, and I'm running to be your next Travis County Democratic Party chair. I have a decade of leadership experience in county, state, and municipal government. I am the president of the Stonewall Democrats of Austin. I am the vice chair of the Texas Democratic Party's LGBTQ caucus, and at the municipal level, I serve as the Austin on the Austin Board of Adjustment as the chair, and I am a city planning commissioner. Now, what does this mean? This means I've had 10 years working in Democratic politics to see what's broken within the system, what works and what doesn't. On the side, as a hobby, I work on getting young progressive candidates elected. That's important because in order to win elections, you have to know how elections work. And when we're talking about a chance, a real chance of getting a Democratic governor, of getting a Democratic senator, you have to know how to get people to the polls to win elections. And that's what I have experienced at. This past year has been the best year for the Stonewall Democrats of Austin in fundraising. We had our biggest turnout for Pride Parade since the organization was founded. It's this kind of experience, this kind of fundraising, leadership building, organization, and relationships with electeds that make me the best person for the job to be your next Travis County Democratic Party chair. Thank you.
First, I want to say thank you to Pflugerville area Democrats, Far Northwest Democrats, Wells Branch Democrats, NetCo Dems, for all the work you do for the party, through your clubs, through your super precincts, local organizing, supporting candidates. We were able to endorse Mayor Deb Weiss and Tony Blair and Nicole Thompson in helping get out the vote. Thank you for the work you do in building our party. I'm Doug Greco. I am the Travis County Democratic Party chair. I was elected in June as a grassroots candidate by a majority vote of our precinct chairs, and I'm running for the full 2-year term in the ballot. It is a very important race at the bottom of the ballot, so make sure you get down to the end of it. And this time I'm running on performance, not on promises. Those of you who know me, 2 decades as a grassroots organizer. I was a high school teacher on the east side of Austin, then 2 decades, 18 years with the largest faith and labor grassroots organizing network in the country. 12 years as the director of Central Texas Interfaith of that network. Jeannie Hinojosa selected me to be her first chief of staff, and I was the program director for the largest statewide LGBTQ organization in the country. I promised when I came to Pflugerville Dems and others during the campaign, we focus on fundraising and local organizing. We're ending the year with a $200,000 surplus. They had budgeted $10,000 a month in income. We raised $30,000 a month in income in the last 6 months. I've appointed over 60 precinct chairs TCDP now has a record number of precinct chairs, over 220, and we're going to continue that into the next term. And I've done the organizing training myself, over 250 precinct chairs. When I came on board, just over half of our super precincts were meeting monthly. Now all but one of our 22 are meeting monthly. And you know, in response to some of the questions we got during the campaign, we've created pot of money in our budget for precinct chairs because of the out-of-pocket expenses they go through, and also money for sponsorships like we did with the Pflugerville area Dems dinner. Look, we have a unique opportunity. 100,000 extra votes in Travis County. We can get statewide Democrats elected. If we get a U.S. Senator from Texas elected, we can flip the Senate and block every Trump nomination for 2 years. But we can't change course. We can't change horses mid-race. We've got to see this through and put turnout through the roof. I've been endorsed by every club and every elected official that is endorsed in this race, including the Stonewall Dems, University Dems, NetCo Dems, our 2 Congress members, Judge Brown, also Gina Hinojosa, Celia Israel. I love being the Travis County Democratic Party chair. I want to continue this. I ask for your support and I ask for your vote. Thank you very much.
We have a few minutes for questions, but I'm going to actually kick it off this time around. So I have had the pleasure of working with both of you, both block walking and working at polling sites to try and encourage voters to vote for the candidates that we've supported throughout multiple elections. I appreciate your support and I appreciate that you're both willing to put in the work. What do you plan to do in this position to bring people that are outside of the fold back in, or encourage people who are non-traditional voters? What are the things that you're doing in the community to have conversations to really build our base back stronger to where we should be?
So when I talked about training 250 folks, it was first of all, we need to listen. We need to understand what's happening with folks in the economy. Folks are afraid about their jobs, their economy, their civil rights being taken away. Just today, there's a precinct in West Austin doing a House meeting. We have a super precinct in South Austin that did House meetings for a few months, identified women's reproductive health as a concern, so they're doing a session today with Donna Howard. Our East Side Super Precinct is doing their first organizing meeting today in about a year, and they have been part of the House meeting training. We first have to listen to folks, okay? We have to ask them what keeps them up at night, what pressures their family face, what are they dealing with? And if we build a platform and we invite them into leadership within our party, on precinct teams, into our clubs, around their issues, not what we're telling them is important, then we have a chance. And then when we do get out the vote, we got to make sure the first time we visit them is not during the election. It's the year before the election. It's the spring before the election. And by the time it's to get out the vote, that we have talked to them several times.
So let me start by saying I cannot tell you how pleased I am to hear the county party has finally adopted my year-round organizing idea. Why was the Pflugerville Democrats Club created? Because Pflugerville felt that Travis County and the Democratic Party in Travis County focused on the central business district of Travis County. That's Austin. Well, Travis County is 1.3 million people. Of those, 900,000 are registered to vote. Those 750,000 are Democrats. They go from Lago Vista down to Bee Caves, down into Buda and over to Maynard. It's a big area. And unfortunately, the east side of Travis County, from 35 over, is still our weakest spot. We have lost the Latino population and their votes. It's not just about listening. You have to be there to listen. And if you only show up in August, knocking on someone's door, asking for their vote, that doesn't give them a good reason. It doesn't matter how good your policies are. It doesn't matter what kind of truth you're speaking. If you are not there year-round in their churches, at soccer games, football games, Little League, car washes, car shows in Guerrero Park, you're not actually part of that community. And they're not going to trust you because they don't feel like you belong there. My GOTV plan is exactly that. Year-round, true organizing in the community by participating in it. We need to get the east side up on our precinct chairs, which that's still our weakest spot for precinct chairs. And we need to get the Latino community re-engaged with the Democratic Party by showing them that that's what we're fighting for. Once we have the east side of Austin, once we have these surrounding areas, all chipping in, that's where that extra 100,000 votes come from. And if we can do it here, we can do it in Harris, we can do it in San Antonio, El Paso, Dallas, Fort Worth, and that's how we get a statewide candidate. Thank you.
How do you envision we support our Hispanic community in exercising their right to vote when they're scared to be out in public?
You invest. And this is something I've been working on. I personally believe that the Republicans are going to have harassers and ICE waiting at polling locations just to intimidate people. We need to have attorneys present, especially in these areas that have large Latino population turning out to vote, so that when they do get to the polls, they don't feel like they have to turn around and drive off. I want them to be able to get inside. And how do we do that? We have people there from the party volunteering to create an umbrella brigade. The umbrella brigade, for those of you not familiar, are the folks that stand in front of Westboro Baptist Church and hold up umbrellas to block their nastiness from people being sent to funerals or going to funerals. So it's that similar kind of thing. We have to wall off these harassers, wall off these protesters, and make sure there is legal representation there to step up and ensure that Latinos know their rights, that they're American citizens, they have a right to vote, because there's no other way you could be in a polling location. Do not be afraid. We will fight for you.
Two things I'll say, I agree with Jessica in the last two questions. First of all, we need to make sure security at the polls, and I think our public officials need to step up, and I think our precinct chairs have a role in this. Just yesterday, we had a press conference, TCDP and Latino elected officials, including Celia Israel, including our county attorney, including Jose Garza, including Greg Casar, talk about the situation with ICE, but we also talked as a party about an initiative that we're going to be starting. We have a team that's organizing a session on immigration and ICE for precinct chairs, but it's going to be connected to the importance of engaging folks in voting around these issues. Okay, that's number one. Number two, we now have a fully bilingual staff. I hired two bilingual organizers, one as executive director, one of the most experienced labor leaders in the state, Luis Malfaro, former head of the Texas AFT, Andy Beltran Garcia. And I also want to say that when I started, we had 19 Hispanic precinct chairs, and I brought another 13 on in just 6 months. And most of those have been from the east side, and we have filled out, not every precinct, but expanded the precinct chairs on the east side. And when I came on, right now we have 7 super precincts on the east side, and now they are all meeting monthly. And year-round organizing is important, but I will say I've been doing that for 2 decades through grassroots organizations, and many of our super precincts have been doing year-round organizing. It's not a new idea, but what is new is we're getting every super precinct to do it now, and that's what I brought to the table. Thank you.
I'm from the library, so I'm sorry I took the whole question. But they're going to be hanging around for a little bit, so you have the chance to ask your own. If you can stay after and help me put the chairs and tables back in order, I'd appreciate it. The other contested races that we will have on our ballot include the Senate. James and Jasmine have done a debate last week, or it feels like a month ago, but that is available online. We also have the governor and lieutenant governor of Texas. Attorney General, that debate is also available online. And on Monday, the Texas State Board of Education candidates will be at the Willow Branch meeting. So yeah, February 2nd, 6:30, there's mobilized if you'd like to RSVP. Thank you all for your time. We appreciate you for coming today. If you'd like to join us at the Growler Bar, we're going to go just
collect ourselves and grab some drinks and mingle with whoever's available. We do have statements from each of the candidates available on this link. Key dates are listed, and thank you for your time. I'm Dana.